Hey everyone. So I just finished up a wedding I went to 3 different states. I started in Connecticut, ended up getting ready pictures in Massachusetts, drove over to Rhode Island to do the getting ready pictures with the bride, and then came back to Avenir in Massachusetts for the reception. So there was a lot of driving involved. And what I want to do is I want to kind of get in the habit of doing some sort of video post, YouTube, something, kind of just documenting my thoughts about the wedding itself. So Tony from TC's DJ, he was with me for the DJ. Scott Fontaine was doing the second shooting for me. And there was a video team there, and there's just no drop against them or nothing against them. You know me. I reach in my pocket, introduce myself. Here's my business card. Can I have one? And their reply was, we don't have one. I can't understand whether it's your business or you're working for somebody else and you're a representative of that business. You need business cards. I don't care if it's a digital one. You could have showed me you could have given me a QR code, something. So I can't mention their name in this post. I don't know what else to tell you. Great team to work with. Very, very communicative, back and forth. We worked really, really well together. But I couldn't drop their name right now because I don't know who it was. So the wedding started off with getting ready pictures with the groom in a hotel room. And I'm a big fan of natural light. I'll bring my flash just in case. So I put the groom over in front of the window. He was already dressed by the time I got there, so we took his shoes off, and then we, pretended we were doing the shoes. Get the jacket on, cufflinks, tie, little things like that. The best man was there, so he was helping with all of that, and everything was really good when it came to that. So it's very simple. They had a bottle of Jack Daniels there, so they opened up that, so I got pictures, but they had cigars, so they had pictures with that. So it was very simple when it comes to the guys. So my second shooter, Scott, stayed. I left and went to the bride's home in Cumberland, Rhode Island. So 30-minute drive. So I get there, I walk in there. She didn't hire me. She had me start at 12 o'clock. She got into her dress at 11:55. So I have no dress hanging up on the wall. And you have to be ready for whatever you need to get for the bride and groom. So when you know your time is starting at X and you're only there for 45 minutes, you got to make sure that you get as much as you can details in that spot. So this was a Tibetan wedding ceremony afterwards, but the church part of it was a Catholic church in Cumberland, Rhode Island. So she's already in her dress. We got some beautiful shots of that. The veil was almost 10 feet long, absolutely beautiful. So that was hanging up on the wall. So we got shots of that. There's special religious iconic jewelry that comes with a Tibetan ceremonial wedding. So that was there also. Photograph that. His outfit, her whole robe and outfit was there also. So I had to photograph that. So I'm working back and forth with the video guy. So for me, I always do a hairspray shot at the end. So her hair and makeup was already done. So I had to kind of, pretend to do it. So set up my light, got all the things done, did my hairspray shot, done. Left, went to the church. So it was only about 8 minutes down the road from the bride. So that part worked out good. Then we walked into the church, and it was an older church. So when most of you people know when I say it's an older church, it was not white. Very, very brown tones, dark pews, dark walls, stained glass, beautiful, ornate in that sense, but very difficult to photograph. Very difficult to photograph. And I'm not a big fan of riding the ISO to 8,000 and 10,000. I'm just not. I'd rather pop a flash, but I wanted to be respectful it was a 1-hour ceremony. I wanted to be respectful for not popping that flash off all the time. So I was right around 1/200th of a second.
There's a slowdown ahead.
I had a little bit of So I went up to about 2,500 for the ISO, and that's usually my max. And I just had to be very careful with my shutter. I didn't want any movements in there, and my aperture was 2.8. So that part worked good. We just had to, there were certain spots we were allowed to go and certain spots not allowed to go. So just to give you a quick reference, he said wherever the blue rug is, you can walk on. Wherever the red rug is, you can't walk on. That's considered their altar. Well, the red and the blue touch. They literally touch. They're side by side. They're like this. They're touching. So you can walk on the blue, don't touch the red. So I had to kind of like finagle our position. Scott was on his 70-200 on my left. I was center. Bride came walking down. Groom was right there. Got the tears. Got everything we needed to get. Watched out for the rings being passed off. A lot of the ceremony, a couple of readings, make sure you get that. And then we ended up doing the, got into the center. So I was on my 70-200 at that time, 2.8 ISO was about 2,500. Excuse me. And then I decided to, I like to zoom in. I like to grab one or two shots of wide at 24 with the bride and groom pushing the rings onto each other's fingers. I also like to zoom in with my 70-200 at the same time and get the rings and just focus on the hands with the rings being put on. So, ceremony's done. She steps down. She starts walking. She forgot to grab her flowers. So, again, she had a 10-foot veil behind her. So, she walked about 2 feet. The maid of honor was in the back, flailing everything out. And then she started walking again. So they started walking like really, really slow. So I'm going like this. I said, come on, a little bit faster. So the video guy was on my right. So him and I talked, and we're both walking backwards at the same time. So we didn't trip over each other, and we both got the same angles that we needed. So we get all the way to the end of the aisle. I make them stop. I make them face each other. I make them give each other a kiss. And we ended up, going really wide with the 24 and got everybody behind them. With that, we walked outside, got them off to the side, cleared the church, did formal pictures inside of the church. I brought my 8400 in for that with a softbox on there just to light them up. I brought my ISO down to about 1,000, kept my shutter at 1/200, 2.8, popped my flash. I was about 1/8 power to just enough to fill them in the front. And it worked out perfect. We went outside the building. We had to contend with the wind with just a little bit. Closed the doors, did some pictures on the steps with the whole wedding party again. Family and wedding party was inside, just a wedding party outside. So I can't emphasize enough talking to people about their names. Remember the names. All the bridesmaids, maid of honor, best man, all the groomsmen. Remember their name. If you want them to remember you, by the end of the night, you're rattling their names off. You're going to make an impression. So, we leave. We decide to go to a bird park, also in Massachusetts. Williams Bird Park. I think it was something like that. Well, Francis Williams, I think. So, I've done this before where I said, hey, I'll just meet you there. So before we left, I spoke to the limo driver and I said, hey, I got a red car. Do me a favor. When you get in that car, don't move until I get behind you. I said, I don't want to end up going to the wrong place. Sure enough, I get behind her. We start driving. It was about a 26-minute drive to the park. We get to the park. I'm following them now, and the limo driver just went to a different spot. We pulled into this, we thought it was going to be a park, trees, water, stream, colors. It was woods. It was like legit, like dense woods. So we pull out of that parking lot. Now, I'm behind the limo, my second shooter behind me, the two video guys were behind him. So all four of us were following this one limousine. Good thing we didn't put different GPS addresses in because we ended up going to the wrong spot. So now we're following them. And at least at this point, yes, wrong spot. But at least at this point, they are all lost together. So they rerouted, got to the park that they wanted to get to, got out. Now this is the park I was talking about. Absolutely beautiful park, beautiful skies behind them. The sun was just starting to go down. So it got to be very cold. So I brought my 8400 out, my 24 to 70, and then I brought a blanket with me because 3 of the girls had jackets on, and then they took them off for the pictures. And then one person didn't have a jacket, so I brought a blanket with me. So always be prepared. Have a blanket in your car and have umbrellas in your car. So we get the pictures done. We get them back over. They're like, hey, can we open the bottle of champagne now? I was like, yeah, let's do it now. I thought it was going to be pop, pour, sip. So the limo driver was like, hey, go ahead and pop it and spray it. I was like, whoa, that's different. I said, I got to back up about 10 feet because I'm not getting wet. So the video guys are behind me. My second shooter's in there. I didn't like the background, but I had no choice. I had no say. So they pop the cork. They're rattling it off. So he's shooting the spray in the air. We get in the limo. We get back to the venue. We got there at 4:15. Cocktail hour didn't start till 5. We had 45 minutes of doing nothing. So we prepped the lights. We got the lights and stands up and when where we had them. Did the test. Very echoey place. I'll have to do another video on this because even the DJ was like baffled. It was so much reverberation in the center of the room, but the second you walked outside of the center of the room, all of the echo and reverberation went away. Crazy. So now we go out, we turn around and we start, they do the intros, they come walking in, they go to the center of the dance floor, they take she gets bustled right then and there, they go to the center of the dance floor, first dance, couple of extra little things inside of there, they did 2 toasts, from there, we did a whole bunch of other stuff, they decided to do a chair dash. I call it a chair dash. I don't know what any other way it's called. It's not a table dash because they go to the bride and groom goes to the tables around them. Sometimes people chip. Sometimes have too much alcohol, knock things over. So this time they put the chairs in the center of the dance floor. I set up one purple light gelled behind them. I put one flash behind my head, directly behind them. Triggered it from my V1. Got my settings right. Bride and groom came and sit down. Table number 1, come on over. They came walking over. They stood behind them, all laughy, cheery and stuff like that. Click, 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 3 shots, done. Table number 2, table number 3, table number 4, table number 5, all the way. So it took us a song and a half because people are just like walking. There was no dash about this at all. So they didn't realize it was supposed to be done a little bit faster. But nobody tripped, nobody got hurt. The bride and groom leave. They go out to get into their Tibetan, traditional, religious, I don't want to call them outfits, that doesn't, it kind of downgrades them, but they're, for the lack of better words, outfits, gowns. So they come back, they get announced again, Mr. and Mrs. coming back into the room, they're all dressed in their traditional Tibetan. We walk back over. Now, I've never seen anything like this before. So I decided, I was like, okay, video guy on my right, video guy on my left, Scott's on the far right. So we've got all of our angles right. Nobody knew what they were going to do. They had, not an altar, that's not the correct word, but they had a spot set up where it was more of a reference spot. So a few things were on side of there. What it is there's linens, there's traditional religious linens that are all cut to certain widths and to certain different lengths, but the widths were all just about the same. So in Tibetan culture, each one of the family members would take, they have 2 strands, two linen lengths. They walk over to the showpiece that's there, I guess call it an altar. They drape one across the altar, and then they bow in front of that. Then they come over to the bride and groom, and then so they have 3. They put one on the altar, and they put one on the bride and one on the groom. And then they give them big hugs and they walk away. 35 people later, all doing the same exact thing. They had this mound of scarves around their neck. Like, I was sweating on my neck just watching them. And they're just got them all on there. So he got to a point where there was too much of them. So he took, a good portion of them off. So we're watching all of this. So all that got dwindled down. Next thing you know, the mother of the groom, I was not expecting this, walks up to me and takes one of the strands and puts it around my neck. Now, I'm a worker. I'm a vendor. I'm a nobody. My job's to capture memories, and that's my job. She looks at me. She puts this around my neck, and she says, "We want to honor you for you doing such a great job in what you were doing. This is what you're supposed to be doing, but we want to honor you for doing it for the bride and groom." I was blown away. I was blown away. So Tony and I, we like to get each other going, laughing, joking. We play tricks, and we're always like, "Hey, just kidding." I turn around, and he looks up at me, and I got this big white, draped across my neck kind of thing like that. My camera's underneath it. So I looked at him, I was like that. He rolls his eye and starts laughing. I turn around. They went up to the video guy, gave him one. Went up to the other video guy, gave him one. I turn around and I'm looking at Tony now. I look over, Tony's got one on him too. So it was funny the way the whole thing worked out. I've never experienced anything like that culture-wise, but wow. It was very, not ornate, but it was very symbolic. That's the word I was looking for. Very, very symbolic when it comes to that. I was impressed. The bride and groom sat down. They haven't eaten anything in 3 hours other than their hors d'oeuvres at 4:15. I said, "Listen, don't go to the tables right now. You guys need to eat right now. Just eat." So they started eating. They took 15 minutes to eat. They got up, started doing tables and things like that. So they did a couple more dances, and we did the chair dances, and then we did everything else. That venue is like so amazing. They're like stealth mode. I was like, "The food already came out?" "Yep, food already came out." I was like, "Where's our food?" We go over to the other side. It's already sitting on the other side. So Scott was leaving at 7 o'clock, so he got his food taken to go, and then he left. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, "You know what? I need a cookie or something. I need some sugar or something." I look around. They had already served all of the dessert and took all of the dessert away. There was not a crumb, no lie, not a crumb left of any dessert. That place was like so clean. There was nothing on the floor. It was like so efficient to the point where, unfortunately, none of the vendors got cake. None of the vendors got cake at all. No cookies, no cake. There was not even a display left for people to want to go pick later on and go. They just say they served the cake on the plates, on the tables, and then when that was done, everything was cleaned up and gone. There was no place for a table of some sort for snacks. Sometimes you can go up and grab a piece of cake, grab a cookie, grab something. Nothing. I went to one of the waitresses. I was like, "Hey, any cake in the background?" kind of thing like that. I said, "What do you get?" "Nothing." She goes, "Oh, let me look." Never seen her again. Again, they're just so efficient. I just wasn't paying attention. Obviously, I was working. So, dance pictures started. So all the people get on a dance floor. We weren't expecting as many people to be on the dance floor. There were a lot of people, good rhythm. They had a blast. A lot of songs I've never heard of before and were very rhythmic. And these people were just like dancing away the whole time. It was a beautiful night. I left, went back to my hotel. Tony's texting me at 10:30 saying, "Hey, they're still going. I was done at 9 o'clock. But I said all of that. I want to try and get in the habit of doing vlogs like this after my weddings when it's fresh in my mind. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I hope this was helpful. If you guys do anything religiously or anything like that, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have done for your weddings and things like that. I know a lot of you guys do a lot more Indian and religious and things like that. I'm starting to get a little bit more involved with that. So peace.